Hey folks, Jordan with TYT Politics, coming to you from the car. I am parked, not driving. I am back in New York. I got back from Standing Rock a few days, on Monday. Obviously, as usual, I left and then all hell broke loose. As you saw from my reporting yesterday, the final easement was approved. I went into quite the tirade yesterday about that. You could watch that at youtube.com/TYTpolitics. Also, the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe will be filing an injunction. So that injunction will most likely be heard rather quickly. You would think it would be heard rather quickly, but that's not a guarantee. So I will stay on that in terms of the legal aspect. There's a whole lot going on. There will be NoDAPL protests across the country today. I just have a few of the protests I know about. I'll update my Facebook and my Twitter if I find out more. Let me tell you about the protests that I do know about. There is a NoDAPL Last Stand action in Denver this afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time at War Memorial Park. So that's Denver War Memorial Park at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you're in Denver, you could go out there. There is a action tonight in Washington, D.C. At the White House, so presumably right outside the gate, from 5 to 6 p.m. It's being called a NoDAPL prayer action. That's at the White House, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock Eastern Time. There is an action in Los Angeles from 4 to 7 p.m. That's Pacific Time, in front of the Army Corps building there. So that's Los Angeles, 4 to 7 p.m. in front of the Army Corps building. And that is 915 Wilshire Boulevard. Again, 915 Wilshire, Wilshire Boulevard. There is another one, and I'll post all these on my Facebook if you don't have time to write it down. There's another one in San Francisco, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time, so that's all day basically, at the San Francisco Federal Building. So that's happening right now, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the San Francisco Federal Building. And there is another one in Davis, California. That's Davis, California, 12:30 to 2 o'clock Pacific Time, in front of the Army Corps building. That's 609 2nd Avenue. Again, 609 2nd Avenue. I'm also being told there's going to be a march on the National Mall in D.C. tonight. So once I have more information about that, I'll get it to you. Again, a march on the National Mall in D.C. tonight. So there's a few things I want to talk about related to NoDAPL. Just so you know, by the way, unrelated to NoDAPL, now a school in the Bronx, New York, has found lead levels in the drinking water double that of Flint, Michigan. So this is in the Bronx, New York. Just so you're aware, I'm going to do a separate video on that. But the Bronx, New York, they have found lead levels in the water at a school double that of Flint. So I'll be looking into that. Now, there's so much to unpack about the Army Corps, this spineless decision, this immoral decision, this not unscientific decision. But I'm going to read the New York Times story because I think, you know how I love to really rant against the media. And I think this type of reporting is a perfect example why this pipeline is going through, because the media didn't do its job. I did my job. Other independent journalists did their job. But places like the New York Times couldn't be bothered. And start sharing this video now. Let's get this out. I want people to know where they could go if they want to demonstrate today and all those things. So, New York Times. The Army approved the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline on Tuesday, paving the way for an infrastructure project that has been surrounded by protest and controversy. Okay, right off the top, the first paragraph is bullshit. This is not an infrastructure project. Infrastructure projects are for the benefit of Americans. Infrastructure projects are for the benefit of people driving, people taking trains, people, all sorts of transport, those kinds of things. An oil pipeline that's being used for foreign exports is not an infrastructure project. There is no benefit to the United States of America for the Dakota Access Pipeline. This is not my opinion. This is a fact. The Intercept did great reporting on this last year. Google, Intercept, DAPL, foreign exports. Most of this is going for foreign use, not domestic use. Okay? So first paragraph, the New York Times propaganda. Robert Speer, the acting Secretary of the Army, announced the decision to Congress, saying he was ready to offer the pipeline owners a 30-year easement on a disputed patch of land. The move drew outrage from opponents, including the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, whose reservation in North Dakota sits less than a mile from the proposed pipeline route. And it drew cheers from supporters who said the planning process for the completion of the $3.7 billion project has already lasted too long. Another bullshit statement. So the reservation is not a mile from the proposed pipeline route. The proposed pipeline route, the whole route, is on Native American treaty land. So it's not like where the pipeline is, it's like a mile away from the tribe. No. The pipeline is on the entire Standing Rock Sioux's reservation. The pipeline is, the entire route is on treaty land. But in America, we don't respect treaties. We don't respect the law. We just apply the law when it's convenient for politicians and the oil companies that buy them out. So that statement is not factual. The chairman of the Standing Rock Sioux, Dave Archambault, responded to the decision by vowing to fight in court. As Native peoples, we have been knocked down again, he said, but we will get back up. We will rise above the greed and corruption that has plagued our peoples since first contact. I've done reporting on the chairman. You could go watch those videos. He made some questionable comments, singing the right tunes now. The pipeline is set to run under the Missouri River near the reservation. It is opposed by many members of the tribe. Construction of the route has become a global rallying point for environmental and tribal activism, drawing thousands of people to a sprawling protest camp and sometimes prompting clashes with authorities. Hey, maybe the New York Times should mention that the Missouri River is the second largest water source in the United States of America. Do you think that fact might be important? Just a minor fact? Unfucking believable. Again, the pipeline is set to run under the Missouri River near the reservation. It is opposed by many members of the tribe. I'm pretty sure it's opposed by the whole tribe. Construction of the route has become a global rallying point for environmental and tribal activism, drawing thousands of people to a sprawling protest camp, and sometimes prompting clashes with authorities. No. There's not clashes with authorities, because clashes would mean both sides are participating. The Native Americans have not been clashing with police. Police have been brutalizing the Native Americans. As I've said, have there been some cases where natives or non-natives burned a vehicle or did something like that? Yes, there has been. Few and far between. And a lot of those times, they were burning the vehicles to keep the police away. But the New York Times, since they didn't bother to send people there, they don't know the context. They're just going to report, he said this, she said this, fuck it, you figure it out. They had objected to the pipeline path running so close to the source of the tribe's drinking water, noting that any spill could poison water supplies for it and others downstream. Members of the tribe also said the pipeline would cross through sacred ancestral lands. Oh my goodness. And to think I, long ago, wanted to work at the New York Times when I was a novice little Cub Scout journalist. The New York Times was the cathedral of journalism. What the hell was I thinking, folks? What was I thinking? Now, so many things wrong here. Okay, so they had objected to the pipeline's path running so close to the source of the tribe's drinking water. Again, it's not just the tribe's drinking water. It's 18 million people's drinking water downstream. So it's not just the tribe who is at risk. It's everybody. That includes hillbillies, that includes rednecks, that includes conservatives, that includes big oil advocates, that includes straight people, that includes gay people, white people, black people, adults, children. It's everybody. They mention that any spill could poison water supplies. Hey, I think the New York Times is a very large research department. I think the New York Times kind of follows the news during the day. Guess what came out yesterday, which I reported in my video yesterday? Energy Transfer Partners, the parent company of this monstrosity, and Sunoco Logistics, which just bought Energy Transfer Partners, had a combined 69 oil spills in 2015 and 2016. That's 69 oil spills in a year. This company that's putting this pipeline under the second largest water source in America had 69 oil spills. That's almost nearly 3 oil spills a month. And guess what? Majority were pipelines. You know what they say, the safest way to transport oil? That's 69 oil spills. Did you hear that in the New York Times? Did you hear that on CNN? The move comes 2 weeks after President Trump ordered an expedited review of the pipeline, part of his administration's goal of supporting fossil fuel developments and lowering barriers for major infrastructure initiatives. The projects would carry 470,000 barrels of oil a day. In this decision, Mr. Speer said he would halt the preparation of an environmental impact statement meant to assess the effects of the pipeline, adding that he had sufficient information to support approval. Well, thank you, Mr. Speer. I'm glad you are, satisfied with your information. Why weren't you satisfied 2 months ago when the Army Corps denied the permit? What changed in 2 months? You didn't even start the environmental impact study until a few weeks ago. What changed? Let's think about it. Maybe President Orange Orangutan breathing down your throat and breathing down the Army Corps of Engineers, saying, approve this, I don't give a shit about the environment. Something changed where it wasn't safe to allow a permit 2 months ago, but 2 months later, without doing a thorough environmental impact study. An environmental impact study is supposed to be between 6 months and 18 months. They're doing it in less than a month. They're just tossing it out. So obviously, they don't give a shit about the environmental consequences. They don't care about the risks, and they're not even looking into the risks. Common sense. Forget politics. Forget if you're progressive. Forget if you're conservative. Okay, if you're sticking a pipeline that has toxic chemicals inside, okay, under the second largest water source in the United States, don't you think you should have a thorough review about the environmental consequences? Isn't that just common sense? It's unbelievable. So basically, this guy, it's not the Army Corps that's approving this. It's Trump. That's very clear. So, the move will allow for the completion of the last mile and a half of the 1,172-mile project connecting oil production areas in North Dakota to a crude oil terminal near Patoka, Illinois. Patoka, Illinois is the hub that's going to then send it out. Energy Transfer Partners has said, we're just the FedEx. We just send it to the distributors. And guess where they're sending it? Abroad. The decision prompted immediate outcry from people within the protest camp, which now numbers about 400 people. It's larger than that, according to Menape Lemaire, a leader living by the route since October. Quote, all our hearts are broken, said Linda Black Elk, part of the Protest Healers Council, in an emotional video live from camp. I'm just going to ask you guys to keep us all in your prayers. Pray for the water, pray for the people, pray for the water protectors, pray for the tribe. The decision left some feeling whiplash. 2 months ago, under the Obama administration, in the face of global protests, the Army said that it would explore alternative routes for the pipeline. In a statement on Tuesday, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, a Republican, applauded the Army's decision. Quote, this is a key step towards the completion of this important infrastructure project. Again with the infrastructure, which has faced months of politically driven delays and will allow for safe transport of North Dakota product to market. So let's keep him on the record, in addition to all these idiots, about the safe transports. Let's give it, I say, maybe 6 months before there's a spill. Let's see what Doug Burgum says then. Let's see what Congressman Kevin Cramer says then. Let's see what Senator John Hoeven says then. Let's see what Hillary Clinton says then, because she didn't say a damn thing about it when she was running for president. Let's see what President Trump says then, because it won't matter to them. It's not their water. They don't care. It's not their kids. It's not their grandkids. If you want to know who wrote this piece, her name is Julie The last name is Turkewitz. Again, Julie, Turkewitz. Not telling you what to do, but informing you who wrote that god-awful piece for the New York Times.